The moment she realized she was in love with him was the exact moment she knew she had already lost him. Dr. Hannah Brooks sat frozen in her office in downtown Chicago, her hands trembling slightly as she stared at the empty chair across from her. Just hours ago, Nathan Carter had been sitting there, his eyes heavy with years of pain, his voice quiet but filled with a strength that had slowly, dangerously drawn her in. She had spent months helping him rebuild his life, piece by fragile piece. And somewhere along the way, without permission and without warning, her heart had crossed a line no therapist ever should. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of human connection, take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe for more stories that stay with you long after they end. Hannah had always been known as the compassionate one. At 34, she had built a reputation not just as a skilled therapist, but as someone who truly cared. Her patients weren't just cases or files to her. They were stories, lives, broken pieces searching for meaning again. She had chosen this path after her own painful past, after losing her younger brother to a silent battle no one had noticed until it was too late. Since then, she had made it her mission to be the person who listens when others don't. Nathan came into her life on a rainy Tuesday afternoon. He was 38, a former construction foreman from Ohio who had lost everything in a devastating accident that took the lives of two of his co-workers. Though he survived physically, the guilt had consumed him. His marriage had collapsed, his career had ended, and he had spent years drifting, unable to forgive himself for something he couldn't control. From their very first session, Hannah saw something different in him. Beneath the pain, there was a quiet resilience, a man who still wanted to believe in something better but didn't know how. Week after week, she guided him through his trauma, helping him confront memories he had buried deep inside. She watched as he slowly began to breathe again, to speak again, to hope again, and that was where the danger began. It wasn't sudden. It didn't arrive like a storm. It was slow, almost invisible. The way she looked forward to his sessions more than others, the way his small victories felt personal, the way his smile lingered in her mind long after he left the room. Hannah knew the rules. She had studied them, lived by them, taught them to others. Boundaries were sacred. A therapist must never cross them. But emotions are not bound by rules, and hearts rarely ask for permission. Nathan, on the other hand, remained unaware. To him, Hannah was his anchor, the person who had pulled him out of darkness. He trusted her completely, leaned on her strength, never realizing that the very foundation of that trust was beginning to crack under the weight of her hidden feelings. The breaking point came on a quiet evening session in late autumn. Nathan walked in looking different, lighter. There was a calmness in his eyes that hadn't been there before. He spoke about applying for a new job, about reconnecting with his estranged daughter, about finally forgiving himself. Hannah should have felt proud. This was the goal. This was the reason she did what she did. But instead, a sharp, unexpected ache filled her chest, because in that moment she realized something terrifying. He didn't need her anymore, and somehow, that hurt more than it should have. That night, after he left, Hannah sat alone in her office long after the lights in the building had gone out. She replayed every session, every moment, every smile. And for the first time, she allowed herself to admit the truth she had been avoiding. She loved him. Not as a therapist cares for a patient, not as a professional supports a client, but as a woman loves a man. The realization felt both beautiful and devastating, because she also knew what it meant. She could never act on it. The next morning, Hannah made the hardest decision of her life. She referred Nathan to another therapist. When he returned for his next session, she explained it calmly, professionally, her voice steady despite the storm inside her. She told him he had made incredible progress, that it was time for him to continue his journey with someone new, someone who could offer a fresh perspective. Nathan looked confused at first, then hurt. He had trusted her. He had believed she would be there until the end. But Hannah knew this was the only way to protect him, to protect the progress he had made, to protect the integrity of everything they had built together. Because love in this case wasn't about holding on. It was about letting go. Weeks turned into months. Hannah tried to move forward, throwing herself into her work, helping other patients, maintaining the calm, compassionate exterior everyone expected from her. But a part of her remained stuck in that empty chair across from her desk. One winter afternoon, as snow quietly covered the streets of Chicago, she received a letter. It was from Nathan. Her hands shook as she opened it. Inside, he wrote about his new job, about repairing his relationship with his daughter, about finally feeling like he had a future again. He thanked her for everything she had done, for believing in him when he couldn't believe in himself. And at the very end, he wrote something that made her heart both break and heal at the same time. He said that meeting her had changed his life forever. Hannah pressed the letter to her chest, tears falling silently down her face. She realized then that some love stories are not meant to be lived out loud. Some are meant to exist quietly, in the spaces between what is right and what is desired. She never saw Nathan again, but she carried him with her, not as a regret, but as a reminder that love doesn't always mean possession. Sometimes it means sacrifice, sometimes it means walking away, so the other person can truly move forward. If this story touched your heart, take a moment to like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps keep these meaningful stories alive. And before you go, here's something special. Comment below, have you ever had to let go of someone you loved for the right reasons? Because in the end, Hannah didn't lose Nathan. She gave him back his life. And that was the purest form of love she would ever know.